Hi, I'm Rachel Gorge. I'm the office manager at Bracknell Town Council. We're the largest parish council in the Bracknell Forest borough. We have 12 wards and 27 councillors. We've decided that it's time to upgrade, and this does mean at this point upgrading everything, because without changing the internet we can't move on to Cloudy and using Microsoft Teams and things like that. But hybrid meetings are something that it's going to be so useful for us into the future. So even though legally at the moment we're not allowed to hold hybrid meetings, we can involve the public through the hybrid technology that Cloudy have installed for us. So we can allow people who don't live locally to do presentations for the council. We can allow public to join from the comfort of their own homes. So part of installing the hybrid meeting equipment is to try to reduce our carbon footprint a bit, and this is one of the ways we're going to start to do that. The system that you've installed for us was tailored to our needs. So we have quite a large council chamber, having 27 councillors. We also then have at least 3 officers present when we have a full council meeting. Sometimes we can have the public in the room, and the shape of our room, the shape of our table, and how people sit in the meetings was really a big part of it. You discussed all of the different options with us to make sure that we were getting the right level of technology for the size of room and the amount of people that we're going to have in there. After doing a test with you after you installed it, I'm absolutely amazed that you don't have to shout when you're at the opposite end of the room to be heard, and also it's not blasting in your ears, which other companies were concerned about. The strength of the speakers you might have to use could impact those people sitting closest to them, but you've managed to work out a system that will work for everybody in that room. The installation process from Cloudy was great as well. We had, again, lots of communication when it came to sorting out dates and organising parking and everything that we needed for us to be organised. You arrived with all of the equipment that you needed, and you just got on with it. The one thing I would say is that I was sad that you didn't have a lunch break and you just carried on straight through because you were working non-stop for all those hours that you were there. You were relentless, let's be honest. You were relentless. You guys you got the job done. It looks fantastic. You tidied up afterwards, and it is brilliant. From the beginning of dealing with Cloudy, the customer service has been exceptional. I've not had as many demos in fact, I've had no demos with other companies, whereas you did 3 demos for us. You visited us several times, we've had several calls, and just that connection that we've got and the communication has been second to none, and that was a real big pushing point in us moving with Cloudy, especially for our hybrid equipment.
Hello, and thank you very much for joining us down this lovely Friday morning. My name's David Hall, and I'm here to talk to you with our partners and clerks all about broadcasting and running your meetings much more effectively using our meeting management software by Partner Decisions. So it's going to be a really busy hour and 15 minutes. We've got lots to cover. It's such a really important period of time. I know, obviously, clerks and officers and councils have just been going through elections and budgets, and now they're really turning their attention to what next, and obviously planning for, well, not just the Jubilee, but obviously all the other things that they've got on their plates as well. And obviously Claudia here to support them. But as I've mentioned, we're here with our clerks and vendors. Hi guys, are you there?
Hi.
Hi everyone. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us as always. We really appreciate it. It's so important to put these events on, bring people together, and really encourage discussion and debate about all the opportunities for the sector, really. And we know, using the right partners, the right technology can really enable councils to really engage better and run a much more productive council, which is what it's all about. So thanks very much. I'm just going to do a bit of housekeeping to start with, and then we'll jump straight in with Ed. But before we make a start, I'll just really talk about the key services that Cloudy provide to the sector. I like to do this because sometimes people join these sessions and they say, Dave, we don't actually know what you do as a company. So we'll just quickly whiz through and cover this now. We provide applications for the modern council. So this includes park inspections, allotments, green spaces, asset managers. Now, all these apps are built on the Microsoft platform. They're easy to use, easy to run, accessible and secure. We also do agenda pack solutions with our partners' decisions who are here today. And we're obviously really excited they're going to give a clear walkthrough end to end of the process that a clerk takes to build, distribute and follow up on those agendas. Now, finally, we also do the IT support and training for councils. This is our bread and butter. We really believe how important it is to provide training and ensure that councils are really up to speed on using Microsoft 365 and all these wonderful tools they have available to them. We also do broadcasting for council meetings, which is one of the things we're talking about today as well. And we've been joined obviously by partners and councils who are using this equipment day in, day out. And then finally, we do web accessibility. We do have a WTAG compliant web tool that allows your website to be accessible. We can help you with that. So those are the 5 services we sell to the sector. It's a really exciting period of time at the moment, so much going on, and these events just encourage that debate and allow us to really connect and just demonstrate the power of the technology. So this year we launched our digital leveling up agenda. We launched this at the practitioners conference, and we were joined by not just Microsoft, but actually Logitech as well. But we were joined by Linda Chanda from Microsoft, who was talking about smart towns and smart parishes, not just smart cities anymore. We were talking about hyper local, and obviously what we're seeing in a post-COVID world with technology and communities really merging together to drive these new ways of working and really getting the most out of what we're doing. Now, Linda's written Linda didn't just join us for that event, but she's written a lovely blog that's on our website. So if you do have a moment, do visit our website and have a look, and you can hear more about some of the things coming out of Microsoft, but also some really interesting topics as well. Now, this digital leveling up agenda is going to be going on throughout the year. We've got events with partners, with councils that we're putting on. So please do, if you don't see us for this event, come and join us for other events as well, and we can continue obviously talking about how the sector can modernize, use technology more effectively, and really respond to their communities much more responsibly as well. Right, so here we go. The session today, we're going to be talking to the importance of good mics and good cameras, and talking to Ed from Logitech. We'll then be speaking to Catherine from Neath Town Council, Steve from Woofton. Catherine has got a Logitech Rally Plus system, the full-blown system with all the cameras built into the ceilings. Steve, they've got a portable system, the Rally Bar Mini, which they use to take out to events and do all sorts of engaging community work. And then we're joined by Mia and Peter from Decisions, who'll be talking about managing those agenda packs and obviously ensuring that it's a joined up solution, so that if you're working in a hybrid way, your councillors can receive the agenda pack simply, and also really engage with it in a real simplistic way. And we know obviously in Wales that the adoption of this is a bit further ahead than in the UK, or certainly in England, but we'll continue this anyway. And then at the end, we've just got any Q&A as well for our presenters and also people involved. So really busy schedule. It's going to fly by, and let's jump straight in with well, I'll go straight in with Ed. So Ed, are you there, please?
Hi, David. Good to see you.
Hi. Yeah, likewise. Thanks for joining us. So Ed, really busy period of time for Logitech. Clearly, you know, we work very closely with you to put you know, the broadcasting solutions into our councils. We've done quite a few now since April. Actually, it's really exciting. And what we really love about working with Logitech is not just your environmental credentials or the stuff which I know you're going to cover in a minute, but also your continual innovation. You know, you're always bringing out updates, improving the microphones, the cameras, and we've got some really exciting announcements to make as well today. How I think you've only just increased the range of the microphones and also the number of microphones you can use as well, which is just incredible. So, you know, a product we sold last year just continues to get better and better. So some great new announcements, more mics and additional range as well. But Ed, I'll let you go into it and explain a bit more, please.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, it's I think more important now than ever, right? We are in a world where meetings are virtual, and more connections are being made over video. So, you know, if you listen to our CEO, Bracken Darrell, he will refer to us as a design company. You know, and we're about creating experiences, and that's a big passion for Logitech. It's about creating great experiences for the people that consume and use our technologies. So, you know, incredibly important that we have this focus on the user experience and making these systems easy to operate and to use, but also when you're going into those meetings, ensuring that the quality of the video and the audio during that meeting is exceptional.
Absolutely. So, yeah, too right. Well, hopefully you'll do a short presentation now, and we'll be joined with councils who are using your equipment as well, so we can see and hear firsthand the quality. So I'll do the trot slides for you. So there we go, Ed. Go for it.
Lovely. Thank you. Yeah. So look, I mean, it's we're a very large organisation. Latest figures, we're a $5.5 billion organisation. We cover various different markets, and you know, we have some technologies that, you know, Bluetooth speakers and in our gaming business, but you know, all of these things, again, it centers around those experiences, and a lot of that dovetails into the innovation that we're bringing into the video market. And it's great to see, you know, we continue to win awards. We've got a brand new product that launched last year called the Logitech Scribe for whiteboarding and ingesting the whiteboard feature into Microsoft Teams. That's just won an award, which is fantastic, you know, as we continue to innovate and help our customers. The other big passion from the top down is sustainability. If you do go onto our website and have a look at our sustainability credentials, we've got some very aggressive targets to be net zero by 2030. And we've made some significant steps in terms of recycled plastics for our mice and keyboard products, as well as carbon labeling and everything that we do regarding packaging of products. So huge focus around sustainability, and it's great to be a part of that journey. And in terms of operations and reach, yeah, we have a distribution network, and we use partners like David, who, you know, really champion our products, take those on board and you know, introduce them to our customers, which is, you know, it's great working in partnership with the Cloudy IT team. It really is. So should we go on to the next slide? Thank you. So just in terms of the product range, what we're trying to do as a business is that we've focused on the meeting rooms. Our journey started kind of Skype for Business, and now we're in Microsoft Teams. We're vendor agnostic. We do support other video platforms as well. But, you know, here's a good example of the range of meeting rooms, from the very smallest on the left-hand side with the Meetup to the very large Rally Plus system, which is a modular device, a modular design system for larger and more complex spaces. Again, the really important thing for us is that the user experience, we want that to be the same across all of these different spaces, because we recognize that when people go into meetings, they don't necessarily want to be concerned with the video and audio technology per se. What they care about is the meeting. The rest of it should just happen when they go and join that video meeting. So the meetup is a very small all-in-one device, camera, microphone, speaker system designed for huddle spaces. And then going up the range, the Rally Bar Mini, new to the market last year, a very versatile product, very popular product with some built-in artificial intelligence for speaker tracking and auto framing the room to ensure that, again, minimizing the number of touches that people have, whilst they're in a video call, that the camera will just zoom in on the prominent speaker during those meetings. And the same with the Rally Bar, designed for slightly larger rooms, so your medium to large type rooms, and then the very large one on the right-hand side, which is the Rally Plus, all of which can be expanded to add in additional microphones to ensure that you are getting the best experience possible. Okay, so as mentioned, we have the Rally Bar and the Rally Bar Mini. So these came into market again, sort of summertime last year, and it's the next generation of technology from Logitech's standpoint. The beauty of these devices, actually across all our devices, we have a management platform that sits in the background, but we are capable of then continuing to update and release new features and functionality to ensure that we stay in line with the changes that Microsoft will make to their video platform, or any other video platform that you may be involved in. So really good room systems, and we kind of talk about inclusivity. So we're in a world now where we want to include the remote participants as if they were part of that big in-room meeting experience, because the reality is nowadays that some people won't be able to attend in person for whatever reason that may be. So it's really important that we focus on providing that sort of seamless experience across the different areas there. Okay, and then the Rally Plus system, again, I know we're going to get a demo of this hopefully later. So this is a modular system where the solution is built in a way where we're trying to remove the number of touch points that a user would have in a room. So the camera automatically frames the room at the start of a meeting. So it'll recognize how many people are there, and then it will either zoom in or zoom out dependent on those people, to then frame them in the video window to ensure that everybody can be seen. There's some other clever technology that sits behind that. Right light is its ability to adjust to difficult lighting conditions, because we recognize that not all rooms are the same. And then the right sound, so its ability to collaborate the microphones in a way that the nearest microphone pod will become more active when it's closer to the closest to the speaker, the active speaker, and then it will dynamically adjust as different conversations happen around the room. So again, really focusing on that audio and that video capabilities. All right. So yeah, it looks as though we're kind of moving on to providing a demo. I'm not going to talk over this particular one.
Yeah,
I'll let David introduce.
Not to worry, Ed.
That covers a lot of the bases. And I think just to finish off here, where we are focused moving forward is actually completing the ecosystem with at-home devices for the personal users that aren't in those meetings, as well as some of the other technologies we brought in around kind of the focus room areas.
Absolutely. And I mean, in some of those things you talked about there, Ed, in terms of the management portal, we have the ability here at Cloudy to manage all of our customers' installations, provide updates and diagnostics as well if there's problems. And, we love that ability to be able to, ensure that, when there is a problem, because there is, don't get us wrong, these things do creep up. It's technology after all. It does, for the whole part, work incredibly well, but there will be issues. But we can diagnose them really quickly, which works fantastically. And in terms of the products we've put in, the feedback's been so good. And I think the use case isn't just for your council meetings, but also, being able to use it in other scenarios as well, like in the workplace, for when you want to get people around and being in the hybrid world that we live in now, not everyone's in the office all the time, and having to have those huddles in a meeting room using, say, a Rally Bar Mini is a great solution, you know. So well, we've luckily got two customers or two councils along today who are using the Rally Plus and the Rally Bar Mini, and one of them is Neath Town Council. Catherine, are you there, please?
Yes, good morning, everybody.
Yeah, hi, Catherine. Thanks ever so much for joining us. A pleasure as always. And Catherine, obviously, you joined us at the Practitioners Conference. We did a short segment back then, and we're always amazed about how great you come across with the system. It's really, we're so proud of this installation, everyone at Cloudy and Logitech. But do you want to give us a bit of background about Neath Town Council and to sort of explain kind of the reasons why you invested in the benefits you're starting to see?
Yes, no problem. We're a 19-member organisation, council, serving about 20,000 residents. We have slightly different laws where we've had hybrid meetings for some time in Wales. The town council, we have tablets for all our councillors. So the law, which was to be heard and be heard, we were sort of going backwards. So we needed to future-proof what we were going to do in our chambers, instead of just going for the to be heard and be heard. We've got a dedicated chambers, so members wanted to have a system that was fit for purpose and future-proofed, really. We have a lot of community engagement, so it was felt that they needed to invest in a product that would see us through and also be used in the community. So we went for quotes in our standing orders, which we do. I was introduced to you via the SLCC conference, and the quote from Cloudy was, it was across the board, very similar. But the tipping point for the town council was really the backup and the support that Cloudy IT had given us and the demos. So very quickly, we chose Cloudy IT. The install was very easy, and for a clerk, that's music to my ears because it's just busy. It's a busy job, as most clerks here will know. So Cloudy IT came in, did it in a day, absolutely nailed it. As my previous colleagues said, they didn't stop all day. We have had an add-on of mics into the room. So if I just zoom out, you can see.
Yeah, please do. It'd be great to see it all. Yeah.
You can see the extent here. If something happens, it's a user IT issue. So this is basically the size of the room. The issues that we have were with sound and the light. It's not very good light in here. We've got a suspended ceiling, and also the sound. We did use a projector and a computer. We use Zoom normally for our meetings, and it was just picking up. All councillors are fidgets and turning papers and little conversations in between meeting points. You could pick it all up, but with this system, it does shut that out. So that was another reason why we wanted to use this system. So you can see the length and the size of this room, and yet the sound is still exceptional. Unfortunately, some councillors, when they whisper, you can hear it. They're quickly learning that the sound and the microphones are so good, they've got to be quiet. So the Zoom, it's an exceptional camera here. We do have the community in, so it's a community asset as well. And so that's basically an overview. I don't want to repeat what my colleague has said, but definitely I would recommend it. It is a step up of investment for us, but we've based it over a 10-year period. And we know that this system will carry us through easily those 10 years. And with the Logitech automatic updates, has been mentioned, and the support from Ryan and David and the team at Cloudy IT, we've got so much support that we're confident that this system will be, as exceptional as it is. We did have our annual council meeting last week. We had members of the public in the chambers behind the screen. You can't see them, you could see their heads. And we had people join us, and everybody was delighted with the results. Everybody could be heard, everybody could be seen. The Zoom is excellent. So yeah, can't fault the system. Would definitely recommend it.
Brilliant, Catherine. Well, thank you so much. It's really good to hear and see it. You know, it's sometimes we know this is such a big decision for a lot of councils. It can be a bit controversial going to broadcast in your meetings. There's a lot of debate around this, and but I'm great that it's been so successful for yourselves. And you know, obviously you're happy to come on and speak about it, and you can just hear and see it. You know, it works so well. We're so proud of the installation we've done there. But we've got a number of councils, Bracknell and others, have all had similar installs like this, and I think it's testament to the hardware and the software that Logitech provides to make it all possible. And sort of what are you looking to do in the future, Catherine? What next? Have you found any interesting uses of the technology that you didn't think of at the time would be useful?
I think it's becoming a community asset. So people have changed the way they work, and lots of people are still working from home. So to have that engagement, but still holding the team meetings here, so our partnership meetings, but for people who, you know, there's still a lot of anxiousness about it in the community, especially in South Wales, about the post-COVID pandemic. And they're just happy to join in. And what's lovely is that there are, you know, half the people are here, half the people are on Zoom, yet everybody can hear every conversation, and it's very inclusive. You know, using a laptop and everybody using individual, which we were before, it just makes it a bit clunky. Whereas this system, especially with the camera, you can, you know, really hone in, which is not good sometimes if you're having an off day. It brings up everything. It's very, very, very intense, but excellent. And you know, we didn't have that community facility as easily as we've got it now. So that's another byproduct of us having to do this by law.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, it's really great to hear it's been so successful yourselves and the council. We're obviously really grateful to be working with yourselves as well. Looking forward to continue to do so. We're obviously joining you at One Voice Wales later on in the year as well. We're doing quite a lot of work for other councils in the area as well. But a really great example, really, of how, you know, Neath Town Council have been using the technology to engage with the community, and also being, I think, a lot simpler than they expected as well, which is fantastic. So moving on to another council also showing a lot of success engaging in the community is where's the slide gone? Where are we? Oh, it's gone missing. Apologies, I should have had a slide on there for Woughton, but you're not there. But Steve, you can join us anyway and talk about it, can't you?
Of course, yes.
Of course you
that's
can.
Good.
So Steve, I mean, obviously you're a bit of a regular on our events here at Cloudy. You know, Woughton Town or Woughton Community Council, very busy. Yeah, really, very busy. But Steve, do you want to just tell people a bit about what you do at Woughton and a bit of the makeup of the council?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we're based in Milton Keynes, so we're one of the few fully parished urban areas in the country. We're a similar size, I think, to Catherine's council down in Neath. We've got 19 elected representatives. We serve a slightly smaller population, about 15,000. And about £1 million turnover a year. So we're a decent sized council. I think we're one of the councils as well that has seized the ability to work quite creatively across our communities in terms of filling some of the gaps that have been left by some of the cuts to the unitary level. So we do, we have an embedded youth service. We do quite a lot of advice services. We've got a mental health service, a wellbeing room. We do community fridges, community cafes, quite a lot of engagement events. So we're very much a parish, I suppose, that is relatively small geographically, but because of the way Milton Keynes is designed, with the grid roads running horizontally and vertically, we've got 9 separate villages, if you like, within our one parish. So there's quite a lot of work across those roads that we have to do as well, David.
Yeah, absolutely. And your account's always engaging. You know, when you mention about youth services, you know, it's incredible the amount of work you do in the community there. And as a council that does want to engage and connect, it's really important to have the technology to do that. You can't just do it from a walled building doing stuff that you did a decade ago. So, you know, one of the things which we're here to talk about today is obviously broadcast and how you're using it at Woughton, and you're one of the first councils actually to receive the Rally Bar Mini, so that was quite exciting back last year. And you know, what's the experience been? Obviously, you're joining us today on the Rally Bar Mini, but how's that been working out for you then?
It's a really handy bit of kit. I mean, we started broadcasting our meetings quite early on. So I think, you know, we went into the first lockdown in March. We were broadcasting our meetings in that May. But basically with everybody sitting, as Catherine was saying, sitting on their laptops in their front rooms or their dining rooms or their kitchens. And then we would use the software and then broadcast it using our social media accounts. When we then came back into the office, we needed a way where we could the engagement that we got from broadcasting our meetings was phenomenal. In terms of the public have a right to attend our meetings, but on the whole, very few people wanted to come and sit in the chamber on a wet and windy Monday night and listen about planning applications. However, 250 people will watch the video of that planning meeting via the Facebook stream that we put out. So it really does mean that in terms of engaging with our public, broadcasting our meetings has absolutely been revolutionary in terms of getting those numbers, those residents to be able to see what's going on. Now, what the rally bar has done is enabled us, as Catherine gave it a brilliant example. I mean, we've got the same similar system. This is our chamber, slightly less fancy than Neath. We're a younger modern council. We don't have all of the glorious stuff that they have down in Neath, but nevertheless, it's a great space to be. It is our dedicated chamber, but it's also used for a wide range of other events. So we have residents' associations meetings here, where again they use hybrid sessions, so people will join from wherever they are. We've used it for Thames Valley Police forums. We've used it for our team meetings. So as Catherine was saying, some of our team remain a little bit anxious about coming in with a whole group of people. So we'll have a team meeting, once every couple of weeks, where there'll be maybe 10 people in here, and then another 10 people joining from, a wide range of places within, 30-mile radius of here, where they're working from at home. It works brilliantly in terms of, as Catherine said, that engagement and everybody having the same ability to be heard, to be seen, to have their voices heard. And it's a really useful bit of kit. The other great thing about our system, which I think is different to Catherine's, I believe Catherine's got, the speakers embedded in the ceiling and the fixed cameras and whatever else. Ours is a bar and 2 microphones, and the microphones are these. These are the microphones, and they pick everything up brilliantly. And you can pick it up and move it. It's, you need to be a bit careful because it's a nice bit of kit. So we've kept the box and the wrapping. So we can put it in the box, we can pick it up, and we can take it to the other parts of our parish, where we can then also broadcast meetings or engage with things, or indeed just share what's happening, depending on where people want to be and how people want to engage. So it's worked magnificently well for us.
Absolutely. Well, we've seen a number of councils actually sort of invest in both bits of kit, and they've got the in situ equipment installed in the council chamber, and then the smaller one in a smaller meeting room which they can move around. So, but I think we're still early days in adopting all of this stuff. Really, the likes of yourself and Neath, straight on the bandwagon and looking at the technology and doing it. But we all know it can take a bit longer to filter down and through to everyone. But we are seeing the benefits to councils. It's great to see it in action. And we know, obviously, Steve, you kindly put a blog together, which is on our website if anyone wants to hear Steve sort of discussing the finer points of legislation about broadcasting the hybrid meetings for the council sector. Please do visit it, because we do know Wales is a bit ahead in that. And, what's your take on that, Steve, without getting too political?
I think that from where we're sitting, we are eager to be transparent, and we are eager to see as wide an engagement as possible. Now, we know that in Wales, for example, and I won't be political with a big P. I'll be a little bit. In Wales, their legislation is slightly ahead of us in a range of ways. So hybrid meetings are allowed. In England, if you're not present in this chamber, you can't take part in discussions or votes. So for our council members who perhaps are more anxious or more frail about the current situation, if there's snow or weather or other barriers to people attending, they can't attend in person and therefore can't be as involved in the democratic process as they might like to be. The other thing that Wales is able to do, David, is pay for childcare or dependency care for their councillors. So councillors with caring responsibilities can be supported to enable them to attend in person. And here in England, we're prevented from doing that. Our laws are explicit that say we can't pay those. So again, if it potentially excludes a whole swathe of the population with those caring responsibilities. Now, what the technology enables us to do, and we hope that the legislation will catch up soon, is for everybody to be able to attend and be part of this essential level of local democracy. If you're, if you're a single parent and you have caring responsibilities, it's much easier to attend a council meeting where you're at home and your kids are entertaining themselves than having to find childcare, which is quite expensive, and then travel into the chamber for a 2.5 hour meeting. So we've got the kit, we've got the will, we've got a belief, I think, across the sector that we need to modernise, that we need to upgrade some of our legislation to enable this engagement. And I would encourage anybody who's watching this who has that power, please. 1972 is a long time ago. It's older than me, the legislation that governs local government. Please sort it out. Thank you.
Brilliant. Well, we'll send the copies out of that clip to the powers that be. But yeah, I mean, I think we it's about balance and flexibility, and we don't want to go back to how it was before with everyone being virtual. I think we do enjoy, being in the same room as people and interacting and having conversations. But it's just that flexibility, isn't it? But what you might be running. Yeah, choice and flexibility, definitely. So great word for that. Well, Steve, thanks as always for joining us, and I suppose that brings us in nicely actually to the next part of the conversation. So over at Wolfton, they've actually invested in tablets for their councillors, and they use digital, and all about what's the next step really. You've gone digital, and you want a way to not print off agenda packs and ensure that your carbon footprint's as neutral as possible, and then you have to really digitize it and share it with the councillors. And we know obviously creating those agendas is a hugely time consuming piece for the clerks and officers. We know how much time and effort goes into that. So something that can really join up the dots is so important. And that's obviously why we've got our partner Decisions here. So Mia and Peter, are you there, please?
Yes, hi.
Excellent.
Hello.
Brilliant. Well, thanks very much for joining us. But Steve, thanks for joining us. Anyway. Take care. We'll catch up soon. Okay. So see ya. Cheers. Well, Mia and Peter, thanks ever so much for joining us. And the reason we put this event on is because we see the two going together. When councils broadcast that meeting and councillors join it, if they're in Wales, they can join it remotely and vote and be part of it. Obviously in England it's a bit different, but ensuring those councils have access to the agenda and can interact with it and votes can be done securely is so important. It's a real sticking point for lots of councils, and getting the right technology and the right partner is really important. Here at Cloudy, we've after the elections brought out a huge range of services around councillor digital packs, tech packs, and advanced training for councillors. But a big part of this obviously is the software that runs it, and that's why we've got yourselves here. So you're going to give us a run through of the product. But I think Mia, you going first and Peter second. Is that right? So you're just going to do a quick slideshow. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Well, I'll jump straight into it then. So here we go.
Thank you. Okay. Hi, everyone. Excited to be here. My name is Mia Legner, and I work as a digital meeting specialist at Decisions. So up until now, we heard a great deal about the importance of hardware and a good and stable meeting setup for hybrid meetings. But further on, we'll be going to talk about the software side of meetings and more exact how smart solutions like Decisions can help councils work in a more seamless and efficient way with digital and hybrid meetings. So today I'll be sharing with you our built-in solution in Microsoft and Teams that will help a counselor or clerk save time preparing for, executing, and following up meetings. So as you've seen, I have Peter Franz with me today. He's one of our product experts, and he is going to demonstrate some highlights of how Decisions works in the Microsoft environment to make meetings the most productive part of your day. So first of all, the perhaps best thing about Decisions is how tightly integrated it is with Microsoft Office 365 and Microsoft Teams. These are systems and apps most of you counselors are familiar with and use on an everyday basis. Overall, the way Decisions help councils with managing meetings are with the features you see listed here. With the meeting pack generation, you can create and collaborate on agendas, prepare for meetings by attaching files, make personal notes, comments, and send out the meeting pack with very few steps. You can run better meetings with the speakers list, time tracker, and live votes during Teams meetings. And you get a dashboard for the council clerk or meeting administrator for a full overview of meetings and agendas, with being able to edit, create tasks and minutes of the meeting. Also, last but not least, with the support of electronic signatures through Adobe, reviewing and signing the minutes have never been easier. If you could click on the next one for me, David, please. Yes, thank you. Perfect. So I wanted to show you an overview of how Decisions works and collaborates with the different Microsoft apps and solutions. So first, you create your meeting in Microsoft Teams or in Outlook, and then you continue with building your agenda pack, either directly in Teams or Outlook as well. Then you can start preparing for the meeting by sharing the agenda pack with topics, attached documents, or what we call a meeting book, which is a PDF file containing all agenda items and the attached documents. And then you can proceed to review the materials and start preparing for the meeting. Information about the meeting is stored in either Microsoft SharePoint or OneDrive, following the same security setup as in your Microsoft environment. And the meeting engagement score tracks how well prepared you and your meeting participants are for the meeting by measuring how detailed your agenda is, plus how many attendees have clicked on the agenda and the different attachments before the meeting. While running the meeting in step 3, you can automatically merge all data from the agenda into the meeting minutes in either Microsoft OneNote or in Word, and the minutes can then be sent for signing or reviewing directly from there. The last step is then to track and follow up tasks, votes, and other action items from the meeting. These are all easily tracked and synced through and to Microsoft Planner or Excel. I'm now going to go more detail into these different steps and show you how Decisions can help a counselor or a meeting administrator prepare for, run, and follow up a meeting. So the first step, naturally, you would want to start by choosing the meeting you need an agenda for directly in Teams or in Outlook. And then you want to build your agenda. The image here shows a screenshot of how your agenda looks like in Teams with Decisions. You can easily add new topics, either from scratch or from a template, and choose whether the topic is for discussion, for information purposes, or for making a decision. Then you proceed to assign presenters to each agenda item and attach the files you want to discuss in the meeting that the participants should prepare for. Then you add how long you want every agenda item to be discussed, and the time tracker in Teams will notify you when your time is running out. If we go to the next one, David, the next step is then to publish and distribute the agenda. So you can share and distribute the agenda pack directly from Decisions in Teams, or you can do it in Outlook through email or in a Teams channel. So there will be a button called Suggest Agenda Item, as you can see in the picture, that allows team members to suggest topics for discussion. And when you share or publish the agenda pack, the attendees will get a link to or get the full view of the agenda. So the goal is, of course, to get your attendees to prepare well for the meeting. By distributing the agenda pack, people can read, make private notes, comment, and prepare for the meeting, or just the part of the meeting where they are presenting. And the Decisions dashboard gives the meeting administrator a meeting engagement score, which is a smart percentage score based on how detailed your agenda is and how many attendees have clicked on the agenda, made suggestions, and overall prepared for your meeting. So during the meeting, the annotator can take notes, assign follow-up tasks, or note down this decision directly into the agenda builder in the dashboard, or they can choose to do it directly in the meeting minutes. So on this slide, I wanted to show you how your meeting experience in Teams will look like with Decisions. So if you notice on the top a bar, a little to the middle to the right, you will notice the Decisions logo with the D letter. And when you press the logo, you will get to see the whole agenda in your Teams chat. And by clicking the different agenda items, you get to see the full agenda description as well as the attached items. So at the bottom right, you can follow how many minutes are left of this topic and the title of the next topic. And the decisions time tracker, which is optional, will help you keep track of time by alerting you with a pop-up every time there is 1 minute left of that topic. In addition to this, Decision has a full speakers list in the Teams meeting chat, allowing you to see who raised their hand to speak or give a remark on a topic in the correct order. And with Decisions, it is also possible for the meeting administrator to set up a live vote where participants can vote openly or anonymously on the topic directly from the Teams chat or from the Decisions app. So if we move on to the next step, that step is to create the minutes of the meeting. This is a crucial part for you counselors, and I believe this is the feature that will save you the most amount of time. You can forget about the manual copy, paste, and hours of writing, because creating the minutes of the meeting with Decisions is a really simple process. You simply press Create Meeting Minutes in your dashboard, and then you can choose between either Word or OneNote. Then Decisions automatically merge all data from the meeting into the minutes, including all tasks, votes, and decisions made. The clerk can then send the meeting minutes for review directly from Word, and then you can co-author, edit, and comment directly into the same document. When the review is done, the minutes can be exported into a PDF and be sent for signing directly with our e-signature solution through Adobe. And the next and the last step is the most important one, and that is to track tasks and follow-up items. If you can click for me again, David. Perfect. As Decisions is so deeply integrated into the Microsoft Sphere, you can easily follow up all meeting action points in Microsoft Planner or in Excel. That way, you never lose track of tasks or what everyone's responsibilities are from this meeting and for the next. So if you move on again, I just wanted to quickly mention that Decisions also come in a mobile app. And from here, you can see the upcoming meeting agendas, attachments, and prepare for the meetings while taking notes, no matter where you are. And from the app, you could also vote live while you're in a meeting. So now I believe it's about to show you how all of this looks like in Teams. So I'll hand it over to you now, Peter. Oh, are you there, Peter? It's time for the demo.
Hello, can you hear me?
Perfect. Yeah, you're on.
Oh, hi. I'm not sure if I was muted. Yeah, so good that we've got a little bit of time to show you the actual app. I think it just is good to add a little bit of context if you can see how it looks and how you can actually use it and interact with it. So I'll share my screen in just a second. When I've spoken to councils in the past, we were trying to do a few different things. So first of all, we were looking to really get the most out of Teams and out of 365. How can we actually use these apps to bring more visibility and accountability to meetings, to virtual meetings in particular? And also, how can we look to make things easier for you, right? How can we reduce the manual work that you're having to do and also help you with the organization and the accessibility of all your meeting data, files, meeting minutes, etc., and just make it very easy for you to get your hands on that information. So hopefully this will let me share my screen. And I'm going to jump into it and show you some of the headlines for this, the parts that I think are the most relevant for you guys. So first of all, we'll build the agenda. Now, what we need to have, you can see my hectic calendar here but what we need to have is a placeholder. So I've just created this one called Webinar Decisions Demo. I've made it red just to kind of highlight it. I've made it a Teams meeting, and I'm going to send it over to Teams just so that Teams is aware of its existence. So if I jump into Teams, you'll have your usual Teams buttons on the left here. So your chat, the actual Teams that you're a part of, your groups, and your calendar and so forth. So this should be showing up here. It is. So I'm just going to go into the Decisions app. So this is really where Decisions lives, and 99 times out of 100, this is where people are going to interact with Decisions. This is your hate to use the cliche, but central hub for all your meeting data, essentially, and meeting information. So these are all my upcoming placeholders that I have in my diary. I can also go into the past and check any old agendas, but for now, we're going to keep it simple. I'm just going to go down here towards the end of my day, and I'm going to click on Webinar Decisions Demo to create an agenda. Now, we would recommend that you have a Teams team for every group that meets regularly. So you might have one called, I don't know, counselors, whatever you might call that team. I do all of my demos in the same place. What this is asking is, where do you want this information to be saved? So you would probably want to keep all your council meeting information in the same folder, so you always relate it to the same team. I do all my demos in the same place just to limit the carnage. So here we are, and here we can actually start building out an agenda. So I'll show you the different elements of it, but then I'll actually select a template because we don't need to build this every single time. So this is agenda item number 1. Once we're finished making this, we can move on to 2, 3, and so forth. So let's say I'm going to give the first item, I don't know, let's say 30 minutes. I'm going to call this proposal A, for example. Description, we can put in as much info here as we want. Load the different formatting options. You'll see that in a second once we load up the template, but whether it's images or iframes or tables, whatever is relevant. Here we can actually add files. So do we want people to have pre-read something? Is this a file we're going to look at in the meeting itself? So that could be a file as in a copy of an Excel. Now that's not going to change. Even if I make this 1 year in advance of the meeting, that file is going to remain the same. You can also make use of SharePoint. So if you're making this in advance and you want to select a file that's going to change with time and people are going to make changes to it, perhaps SharePoint's a better option, but we can facilitate both. Hashtags would be a way to search back for this particular agenda item rather than all agendas. And here, what's the point? Why are we doing this? Are we trying to make a decision? Are we just having a group discussion, or is this purely for information? So that can really help us keep on track in the meeting. Mia already showed you on the right-hand side how you'll get the agenda and how the time tracker can help you. That's where this comes into play, and you can say, okay, well, we actually have 3 minutes to wrap this up, and then what kind of actions do we need to take based on that? So the final thing I'll show you before I select a template is a guest attendee. So you can actually bring someone in as a guest attendee who is not in your group. Mia is not part of my group, but maybe I want her to come in to present something on proposal A. No matter how big this agenda gets, even if I add 100 more agenda items, Mia will only be getting an invite, a placeholder for 30 minutes, starting at 5:30. So she will not see any of the other meeting information from the meeting itself, only this part. And again, you can invite someone purely as an attendee to take part, or someone who can actually take control of that agenda item and be a presenter. So you get the idea for how we might start to build this out. But for now, I'll just select a template. So you can have templates saved privately. You can have templates for the entire council that everyone can dip into. You just need to kind of set it up. We would help you do that. But here you see how this might start to build out. Again, this is a reasonably, not too much detail, reasonably vanilla template. And you can see that it gives you some updates as you go. You need to shorten this because it's actually going to exceed the original placeholder and so forth. So a few little prompts and so forth. One thing I'll show you now is how we set up voting. So I understand that depending on where you are geographically, legislation might be slightly different, but this is how we would facilitate a vote. So let's just say decision 1, please vote yes or no, keep it simple. And I'm going to propose this vote. So this is something I can set up in advance. When we're ready, when we're happy, and it makes sense to do the vote, you can see here we have decisions 1. This is for a vote. So if I click here, let's go for it. I'm the meeting organizer. You know what? Let's start that vote. So now everyone's going to get a chance to vote on this topic. I can set that up as, and I went through that quickly. I maybe should have paused there, but I can do that anonymously or completely open. So let's vote on this. I'm going to vote yes because I'm feeling positive. I I've voted successfully. Lovely. The voting's still happening, and we can view results as we go on. How are things proceeding? If we want to add another vote, we can do another one here, and we can have various votes for this particular agenda item. So we can look at that in more detail another day if you guys are interested in it. But for now, I'm going to move on and go to the board pack. So we're still in the what I would describe as, although I showed you the voting function, how that would work, we're really still in the pre-meeting stage here. So we want to be able to notify people about the agenda and let them see that before. So we can just send out a link via Teams and they'll be able to go through it like this. They'll have basically the same view I have now, except they won't have the ability to edit it because I'm the meeting organizer. But for now, how do we actually go about creating a meeting book? So this pack that you're going to send out to everyone, you can call it whatever you like. I'll just keep it as that. And we're actually going to bring in Microsoft Word here. So this is the first place you can see how our integration with Word will work. On the right-hand side, you'll have a panel, and essentially you'll be able to just tick the boxes of everything you want to include in this board pack. So mine's super simple. It's a super simple template. I don't have any supporting files on there, but if I did, the first stage is to select the content. What do we want? You'll see all the tick boxes on the right. I chose to include everything. If we had any files here, it would also ask us if we wanted to add the files as links. So it's a link you can click on. Maybe it's a huge Excel document, right? And you want people to be able to click on it and view it online. Or do you want to merge that into the meeting book? So perhaps it's a table on Excel. Maybe you want that to be included. So you've got the different options. But as we go down here, you can see how this is formatted. You've got the brief agenda here. Once it's finalized and we've got the PDF, you'll have a table of contents. And then when you go down, you'll be able to just look at each page for that particular agenda item. Mine is super simple. Yours will be far more complex, I'm sure. So we would create that PDF. It would just take a little minute if we had any supporting documents to merge in. It would take a matter of, just a kind of few seconds. Depending how complex it is, it will take slightly longer. But what we'll have now is a finalized PDF that people can actually start annotating with notes or scribbles or drawings, whatever it may be, to remind them of things that they want to bring up in the meeting itself. So it's taken just a little moment here. Was expecting it to have loaded up by now, if I'm completely honest, but it's a demo and sometimes things take a little bit longer. I'll come back to that shortly. When I create the minutes, it's done in exactly the same way, but you get the idea for how we would start to build this out. So you can also, when you send out not the board pack, just the link to the meeting, you can choose to suggest, show the suggest button, so they can actually start suggesting agenda items back to you. So maybe if it's a collaborative meeting and you want to get people's input beforehand, you can send out the bare bones of an agenda, get them to suggest topics for you, and then build out the meeting that way, whatever works for you guys. So in call, Mia showed you how we can have the agenda on the right-hand side, right? And you can click on each part for more information, which I think is really cool for keeping people focused on the screen. Even if they do have a hard copy, we want them to refer to the agenda on screen as much as possible because it's going to keep them live and in the moment. We definitely don't want people moving out of the screen that they're looking at, checking an email for some information. Before you know it, someone's replying to an email, they're not paying attention. We don't want any of that. But there's a couple of other things we can do here too. Firstly, you know how to log a decision because we voted for a decision. The other way we can do that would just be to set a final decision. So I'm just going to call this test one again, and I'm just going to save that as a final decision. This is now going to be logged with all the other decisions for this particular team. So maybe your council team, whatever you want to call it. If I click on the list, that's going to take me to all the decisions that we've made historically by this team. Now, all I do is demos in here. So as you can see, these are all nonsense decisions, but it'd be very easy to get here and refer back. So in fact, what happened on that day? Who was present? What were we discussing? Any data that you might want to access, you can do that quite quickly just by clicking there. And it's going to take you through to that agenda item. Now, that would be setting decisions and logging decisions. Obviously, these will also be logged in your meeting minutes, which we'll get to in just a moment. But before I show you that, it would be the setting of tasks. So let's say, based on that decision, you've got a few tasks. People need to do some things in order to action that decision, right? So creating a task would be similar. And this is where we can actually draw in the integration with Microsoft Planner. So again, Word, Planner, Teams, we're hopefully just bringing all these apps closer together and making it much easier to kind of reap the rewards that they bring. So I'm going to keep this super simple as well. Task 1, example. What agenda item is this relevant for? Okay, it's relevant for agenda item number 2. Okay, agenda item number 2. Let's say we want this to be completed by let's say our next meeting is going to be on the 1st of July. Let's say the 30th of June. I'm going to assign this to, and now I have to assign this to somebody in my team. I'll just assign it to myself. And then here, where do I want this to land in Planner? So this will become clear in a second, but anyone that's familiar with Planner, they have different buckets, which are really different lists of tasks. Decision wants to create one per meeting, which for you guys in councils, I think would actually be quite a nice way to organize it, but you can kind of customize that and organize it as you want. I've just got one project 1 and one project 2, just to keep it neat. So I'm going to add that. So we can start adding as many tasks as we want based on actions that you guys are going to have to take in between meetings. Whenever we want a holistic view over our tasks, we click on Planner. It's going to be for this particular group, so your councillors. And look, this would be, I don't know, let's say you have a monthly meeting. This could be January, February, March meeting, April meeting, and so on and so forth. And what you'll have is a pretty easy to deal with list of tasks that you can see just by glancing at it if you have any outstanding. So I can see right off the bat that I've got 1, 2, 3 that are in red, that are outstanding tasks that should have been completed by now. I can now go in there, find out what the story is. Do I need to assign that task to somebody else? So that's really how we would link in Planner and give you that holistic view. So really the only thing I've got left to show you, and I think I'm going to bang on time here, is the meeting minutes. So the meeting minutes you can do with OneNote or Word. I'm going to choose to do it in Word because 99 times out of 100, that's where people want to do it. But the plugin is exactly the same, right? So what do we want to include in our minutes? For you guys in the council, quite possibly everything. So we want the agenda item description. We want any decisions that we've made, any tasks that we've set. Let's say we made some votes. We maybe also want to click on who was absent, just to give us a formal log of exactly what happened in this meeting. So if I merge that, Mia mentioned earlier how we're hopefully going to be saving you guys a lot of time, right? So whoever's normally having to format this, type all this up, hopefully we're saving them that time. But more than that, this is now repeatable and scalable. So it doesn't matter who's doing this. It doesn't matter what month it is. All your meeting minutes that you're making available to the public are going to be uniform and all looking exactly the same. So the final thing, and the way I'll kind of wrap this up, would be you now have all the information. I didn't actually touch on the way we can take notes, but essentially we bring in OneNote and you would have one tab for each agenda item. Those notes, if you merge them, would just come below each agenda item on here. And the thing I'll say finally to wrap this up, because I think it kind of summarizes this quite well, is us bringing all this information just closer to you. So yes, you have your minutes here, but these are all hyperlinked. So if you have access to Planner, if you're part of the team, all you need to do is click there and it's going to take you right through to Planner again. So hopefully bringing the benefits of these Office 365 closer together and just making it a lot easier to gather that information and be able to access that information, really. So look, we could definitely get bogged down in the weeds and there's, I could spend hours showing you around the app, but that's probably the headlines. And from conversations I've had in the past, that's been what kind of most people from councils have been interested in looking at. So hopefully that gives you guys a bit of an idea for what we do here.
Brilliant. Thanks ever so much, Peter and Mia, for that walkthrough. Really interesting, and we hear this time and time again, really about how long it takes to prepare for meetings, especially if councils have lots of meetings as well, which some do. And we really do believe that it's such a fantastic product to save time. And we know there are some challenges. You've got to have a decent adoption of Microsoft 365. That can be quite a few jumps to get to this position where you're assigning stuff into Planner, using OneNote and Teams so efficiently. But we're here to support councils much like yourself, and we spend a lot of time and effort, don't we, making sure that councils are, through the training we provide, as comfortable as possible. And it takes a bit of time, like anything, but equally really, really useful and can save huge amounts of time and make you super efficient. And I really like your Decisions app, actually, that's available for tablet and mobile phone. I definitely think that when the councillors are receiving that agenda, it makes it so simple just to open it, annotate on it, add your own notes, do your votes. It's just one app that does it all, which makes it so much easier. Great. Well, I think we've got some special offers as well, haven't we, for anyone wanting to look and have a play with Decisions. So we've got a QR code on the screen here. I mean, do you just want to talk through really some of the benefits around that?
Yeah, sure. As David said, we wanted to share a special promotion for all the attendees of this webinar. So this is a 30-day completely cost-free trial of Decisions. And by following this QR code, it will take you to download the Decisions app in the Team store. And when you've downloaded the app, you need it to be approved by your IT administrator. And after that, it's ready to use. And also feel free, of course, to contact Cloudy or us directly if you want a live demo of the solution and want to dig more deeply into the details. As Peter just showed you the highlights of the solution, we would be happy to set up a meeting with you. And also on the next slide as well, we have created.
I was going to leave that just a second, just in case anyone wants to try and snap the QR code. I was just going to say, and there's been a big Microsoft event called Microsoft Build at the moment, which is a huge developers event, and Decisions was actually referenced, wasn't it, by the CEO of Microsoft on the screen, which is congratulations. You must be over the moon with that. So it's just a good endorsement of the company and the great work you're doing. So we'll go on to the next slide now. Hopefully someone was able to snap the QR code, and if they haven't, get in touch and we'll obviously happily talk you through it. So there we go.
Yeah, good point there, David. Thank you. So also in addition to that, we created a special council package for those of you who want to start using Decisions either right away or after your 30-day free trial. So we have divided it into two packages. It's a one small council pack and one large council pack. So both of the packs include the Decisions app as well as the Vote Now feature included for free, and one custom template meeting. We can help you set up the first template for free, or we can help you customize the meeting minutes. As you saw, Peter showed you a very simple setup. We can help you customize that to your council specifically. And also included in that is 2 hours of training with us. So for the small council package, for 1 to 25 users, it's £1,000 a year, and for the large council pack, it's £2,000 a year. But if there are any larger councils with us here today, please reach out to Cloudy. We will look into how we can best accommodate your needs, of course. And to get this special promotional price or package, you need to commit by the latest of August 31st. So to summarize, you get to try the solution cost-free for a month, and then you still have some time to decide whether you want to move forward with the solution or not.
Brilliant. Thanks ever so much. Brilliant. Well, that's it really. We've covered obviously broadcasting with Logitech and our council partners, and we've delved into Decisions and the ability it has to obviously allow you to create those meetings and share and distribute the agenda packs and follow up on those decisions and create the meeting book. So, we really appreciate obviously everyone coming along today and visiting and watching our sessions. We do have some Q&A actually at the moment as well. I don't know, Ryan, if you can get everyone on the screen and then we can answer any questions that people might have. Okay, so Ryan is still waiting. Well, I can see the questions from here, so I'm just going to answer them, read them off. Well, thanks very much, Kevin. You've thrown quite a few questions at us actually on the screen, which is great. Kevin's saying, what IT equipment, e.g. tablet, mobile phone, laptop, etc., is used by councillors by Neath and Woughton? So thanks very much for that, Kevin. Steve, do you want to answer about yourself, Woughton, and Carol, if you want to answer about Neath, that'd be fantastic.
Shall I jump in on this?
Yeah, go for it.
We have a combination really. Predominantly, our officers use laptops, and our councillors currently are using tablets. But we are in the process. I think next week we take delivery of Surface Pros, Surface Go's.
Surface Go Frees, in fact. Yes, Surface Go Frees. There's so many Surfaces, it's unbelievable.
The tablets that we had were limited, I think, and many of our councillors found them unwieldy. So I think that the Surfaces will work beautifully with Office 365 and the integrated system. So that's what we've made the decision of. It's a big investment, and I think it depends on the size of your council in terms of what is realistic.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Microsoft were offering a discount on those devices at the time. There's a 10% discount in place now until I think later on in June. But the Surface Go 3 is a good product. It's tablet size. It's got detachables, keyboard. It's a Windows 10 machine. It ticks a lot of boxes. And if you are asking your councillors to be fully digital, you've kind of got to give them the tools to do it. And whether that's a product like Decisions or a good product like Surface Go, it makes a difference. So yeah, looking forward to providing the training on that and getting the best use of it.
Sorry, the other positive for us, I think, is that because of the fact that it's a flexible one, so you can have it as a tablet or you can have it as a laptop, it also enables our councillors to use it remotely for engaging with public on questionnaires, on consultations, all that sort of stuff. So it's a big investment, but worth it, I think, in the long term. Thanks, David. Sorry.
So yeah, no, definitely. And Catherine, yourself, what are you using over at Neath?
Yeah, it's similar to Steve, really, a bit of a mix of everything. We have issued tablets to all members. This was pre-COVID, about 6 years ago. Obviously, it's you've got to replace them every now and again. But some want to use their own iPads, but everything is sort of on a cloud for us at the minute, so it's slightly different setup. But yeah, mixture, same as Steve.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. So Kevin's had another question here about recommend all document names use a common naming structure rather than allowing the file creators to use their own random file names. Steve's laughing. I'm sure he's come across this before. I mean, I'll answer it first. When we set up councils with 365, we sort of have a template we provide to help them readjust their data and align it into Microsoft Teams and give a bit of structure, because these things can grow organically. But every council is different, has different ways of doing it. Absolutely. Interesting to know, Catherine and Steve, what your policy is on that. Go on, Catherine, you can go first. Yeah.
It's sort of all pivotal to me, really. We're very small as a clerk and 2 other officers, so we haven't really got much of a problem because we share it as we go along. We've got quite a generic, it's quite a boring system, really, but we try and keep it systematic along the way. It's a number system that everybody can use, so that's really random.
Cool, thanks. And Steve, yourself?
Well, I mean, we have many systems. I dream of the days where it would only be me and 2 other people. There's me, and I think we have 25 other officers employed at various levels, from full time to very part time. We encourage people to use a logical system, but there's always dangers. Whenever anybody says "final" in a document name, for example, you know that something will be wrong with it, and we have to go back and change it. It's one of those. I think we try and keep the great thing about our system as well, I think, is if you go too long, it tells you that you can't use that name. So that does encourage people to keep things simple. We are currently going through a rearrangement and a reorganization of our SharePoint again, because it gets really unwieldy. So I think the question, I think, was it Kevin who asked the question? Kevin, it's a really sensible thing to do, and if you can get it done at the start, then it's probably much easier than trying to do it in retrospect.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we've when we migrate any council to Microsoft 365 in the cloud, it's one of the first things we do is address the file structure and the layout. And we sort of put in front of them a template which we see other councils use and assist them with that. And then obviously we revisit councils we've been working with for years, like yourself, Steve, to review it from time to time. We did have a go at that just before Christmas, but then lockdown got in the way, didn't it? That ruined that one. So we'll give it another go soon. Brilliant. I think there's one more question again, and is the logic system for broadcasting council meetings movable and easy to set up, and different rooms? So Steve, yours it's the Rally Bar Mini, totally portable.
Really easy. I mean, it depends on the other equipment you're using, but we have a pop-up screen and a projector that we can take out with us, and it just plug it in and it works. It's really straightforward. I'm astonished. I continue to be astonished at how clever design is, and this is a really smart bit of kit.
And just to add to that, Steve, you also invested in one of the laser projectors, didn't you? The Optima projector. Very clear, isn't it? No bulb.
It is. That's the fixed projector. So we have. It's a bit like Catherine, I suppose, down in Neath. We have some fixed equipment in our chamber. So the projector is above my head here, and in front of me, I've got my laptop, but then I've got this massive screen with all your big smiling faces looking down on me. So that sits there. But the Logi Bar itself, we can unplug this projector and simply plug in the mobile projector and take it to wherever it needs to be. So we've taken it to family centres, we've taken it to community centres, we've provided it all over the place. We also have a trailer, which is almost a mobile office with a stage, and we're working at the moment to see whether or not it's possible for us to embed it there and take it into fields, for example, and then hook it up to a phone of some description. We'll see, but we are going to absolutely push to the end to see how we can use this equipment. But I'm fairly sure it's going to work. I think it will work. So, but we'll see.
Let's ask Logitech. Ed, how portable is the Rally Bar Mini?
You've answered the question brilliantly, and thank you for that. It's yeah, look, we're constantly challenged by the different designs of spaces and what people do with them. I think that where Logitech have kind of found themselves in a position quite lucky with this explosion of video in the marketplace, because we've come from that keyboard and mice background of USB peripherals. We have webcams. This is an extension of that. So they are designed to plug into laptops, PCs, and you can just run with it. So yeah, we'll continue to innovate. We'll continue to bring more to the market. But the Rally Bar Mini, it's very portable. It's not too big. There are bigger ones, obviously, but and there are smaller ones. So yeah, it depends on what you want to do with it.
Cool, brilliant. Okay, and I think we've got time for one more question, which is basically, I think, around decisions and whether we possibly have access to a sandbox test space in order to evaluate it. So, yeah, Kevin, absolutely. If you didn't get a chance to snap the QR code, then please do just get in touch, and we'll follow that up and arrange for an installation demonstration. You can run through it and demonstrate it to your colleagues and your councillors as well. Great. Well, we're on time for once, which is great news. Thank you so much to our guests for joining us. Really do appreciate it. Putting on these events is so important to really, like I said before at the beginning, encourage discussion, and the process of modernisation isn't straightforward. You don't click your fingers and it happens overnight. It takes many small steps to make a big impact. But Catherine, Steve, Maya, Ed, Peter, enjoy the rest of your days. Thank you so much, as well, like I said before, and thank you to all our guests for joining us here. We have got more events lined up. Next month, we are doing a session on the importance of training, and we've got our partners from Clip Training who are going to be talking about how you can train your staff and your councillors more effectively using our e-learning portal. And then we are also got a session on choosing the right cloud for your council. We've got partners from Microsoft and also from councils who are joining us to talk about their experience of Microsoft 365 and what you could actually see from moving to their cloud. But once again, thank you very much for coming along, and enjoy the rest of your day and the weekend. Take care. Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Rachel Gorge. I'm the office manager at Bracknell Town Council. We're the largest parish council in the Bracknell Forest borough. We have 12 wards and 27 councillors. We've decided that it's time to upgrade, and this does mean at this point upgrading everything, because without changing the internet we can't move on to Cloudy and using Microsoft Teams and things like that. But hybrid meetings are something that it's going to be so useful for us into the future. So even though legally at the moment we're not allowed to hold hybrid meetings, we can involve the public through the hybrid technology that Cloudy have installed for us. So we can allow people who don't live locally to do presentations for the council. We can allow public to join from the comfort of their own homes. So part of installing the hybrid meeting equipment is to try to reduce our carbon footprint a bit, and this is one of the ways we're going to start to do that. The system that you've installed for us was tailored to our needs. So we have quite a large council chamber, having 27 councillors. We also then have at least 3 officers present when we have a full council meeting. Sometimes we can have the public in the room, and the shape of our room, the shape of our table, and how people sit in the meetings was really a big part of it. You discussed all of the different options with us to make sure that we were getting the right level of technology for the size of room and the amount of people that we're going to have in there. After doing a test with you after you installed it, I'm absolutely amazed that you don't have to shout when you're at the opposite end of the room to be heard, and also it's not blasting in your ears, which other companies were concerned about. The strength of the speakers you might have to use could impact those people sitting closest to them, but you've managed to work out a system that will work for everybody in that room. The installation process from Cloudy was great as well. We had, again, lots of communication when it came to sorting out dates and organising parking and everything that we needed for us to be organised. You arrived with all of the equipment that you needed, and you just got on with it. The one thing I would say is that I was sad that you didn't have a lunch break and you just carried on straight through because you were working non-stop for all those hours that you were there. You were relentless, let's be honest. You were relentless. You guys you got the job done. It looks fantastic. You tidied up afterwards, and it is brilliant. From the beginning of dealing with Cloudy, the customer service has been exceptional. I've not had as many demos in fact, I've had no demos with other companies, whereas you did 3 demos for us. You visited us several times, we've had several calls, and just that connection that we've got and the communication has been second to none, and that was a real big pushing point in us moving with Cloudy, especially for our hybrid equipment.